All right, everybody, welcome back. So, the reaction to the USA Grand Prix, guys. So, you'll have to excuse me, guys, I'm not in the studio today. It was obviously a late Grand Prix here in America. So, we're doing it at home here, baby. We're doing it at home, but it's not to worry, no problem at all here. So, it was a very fascinating Grand Prix, I thought, guys. Now, as we're recording this, we're actually keeping an eye at the end of the race here. So if you're wondering, if you're watching me on YouTube, if you're wondering what I'm looking at here, I'm looking at the TV. I'm going to hope that they give us an update on exactly what happened to Verstappen's car. It's very, very strange. The brakes, I think it looks like he's just had a brake issue, really. The thing with the brakes too, guys, is, I mean, you got to be very, very cautious with brakes, because like even with the setup of brakes, it can mean a lot of time. All right, this is what you learn as a race car driver when you're younger with the brake bias. So you can adjust. Now, many of you may know this or may not, but you can actually adjust the brake to be more focused on the front of the car or the back of the car. So in other words, you'd normally, it's different for every track and driver, but normally you'd be going for like 70% to 80%, depending. So let's say it's 70% more on the front of the car, and therefore and then you'll have 30% on the back. So what does this mean? That means the pressure on the front of the brakes, right? So in other words, if you're braking hard into a corner, 70%, I suppose you could say, 70% of the energy and the power of the brake is focused in the front of the car, right? Now, the thing with the brakes is that if you go too far up, so in other words, if you went, let's say, 100% front, you've got no back end braking, right? And the chance are, well, you're going to lock up the car. So it's very important to get a good balance. Now, normally, you would say it's 70% for the dry. That's just a ballpark, really, a ballpark. Now, you'd be looking at, in the rain, you'd look for a more balanced braking efficiency, where you'd have it more 50-50 for the rain, because you need the car to be more balanced in the rain, right? And the problem is, if you've got too much brake power on the front in the wet, chances are you're going to lock up really bad, right? So it's a bit of an art form, I suppose you could say. But in general, see, this is where things can go wrong with the brake, right? Because you do have the ability to put it back front and stuff. So maybe did they have a problem when they were setting up the car? Hopefully we'll get an update now, guys, in a few minutes. And obviously, if they say anything here, I will report it straight to you. But guys, did you see the attendance this weekend? 420,000 people were at the Formula One this weekend. Unbelievable. I mean, 500,000 people almost. Jesus. Unbelievable. Okay, hang on one second, guys. Let's see if we can get a... Okay, Verstappen, he's not sure. He's just talking on the TV now, guys. Bear with me. Right, okay, we still don't know yet, so hopefully we'll get an update anyway, guys, and I'll let you know. So, okay, there's a couple of things I want to talk about today. And by the way, obviously I know that I did a poll there on Facebook during the week, and I was asking you guys, who do you follow? Who should I keep an eye out? Who should I talk about? Okay, so most people, and it was kind of surprising, most people are into Perez, Alonso, Leclerc, Norris, but the main ones were actually Alonso and Perez. Couldn't believe it. Hamilton as well was up there. But so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to talk about those drivers as well, right? So hopefully I can give you some good updates and some interesting content for them, your favorite driver. Okay, I want to talk about, before we can really get into it today, these track limits, man. you know, I mean, like the FIA, the main people who run the rules and the regulations, guys, they're making their job so much harder that they're controlling these track limits. Like, I would, if I was in charge of the FIA right now, I'd be like, fuck it, lads, let's just let them do their thing. Let them use the whole track. Why not? Right? Why not? Because if you let all of them use it, well, then no one gains an advantage, right? And besides, the amount of schooling and the amount of keeping an eye on this driver, keeping an eye on that driver, I mean, good God. They've got more important things to worry about, guys, the FIA, than worrying about some fucking track limits and, oh, he's gone over the track now. I mean, just, like Verstappen happened to him yesterday, and where he did his quick lap, he put it on pole, but he went over the limit. So they deleted the lap. I just think they just got too much... Maybe they've got too much time on their hands and they have to keep themselves busy. I don't know. Because it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's pointless. I really do think it is absolutely pointless. Anyway. Okay, so Hamilton, let's get into him first, guys. 2 second positions. He's had quite a good weekend here. Like Hamilton, I think, you know, have they really made the car better now? Have they upgraded the car that they're getting places? I guess a little bit. They've definitely found form. There's no two ways about it. They definitely had some good pace this weekend. Now, look, obviously Verstappen had even a brake problem and they still couldn't chase him down properly. So, you know, they're still a good bit off. You know, they're still a good bit off here. I think Hamilton going forward, I mean, you've got 4 races left. I think he should do pretty well in Mexico. I think the track layout, you know, you've got the S, or the twisty S bends out the back there. That's going to be an important corner or important area to really target for them. Mercedes and Hamilton, do they have the pace for that? Do they have the balance of the car, more importantly, to actually to get it up near pole, maybe even pole in Mexico? I can't see it happening, but I think they're going to do quite well in Mexico. So we'll see. Now, I mean, it was definitely a good, a pretty good result, I suppose. It's second position, 2 seconds in the sprint race and the main race for Hamilton. So, yeah. I mean, I think for Hamilton at this stage, for the rest of the season, they've 4 races left. Verstappen's got the championship won. The Constructors' Championship is won. It's all sewn up and done. I think if Hamilton can just keep scoring podiums, you know, I don't think they've got the legs to take Verstappen down. I really don't in the next couple of races. If they score a couple of podiums in the next few races, guys, in the next 4 races, I honestly think that's a pretty good result given what they have, given the equipment they have, etc. So you might see Hamilton in second or third, back on that podium, guys. So if you, I just don't see him taking Verstappen down, like I was saying. And by the way, guys, before we talk about more drivers here, did you see the size of the flags that they had in Austin? Holy Jesus! They've at turn 1, they've got this massive American flag, and then at the back they had this Texas flag. Jesus Christ, guys! It's the size of 2 or 3 buses. These flags are so big. They're unbelievable. Holy shit! Whew. Anyway, I'm probably boring you to hell with talking about flags. Okay, so where else are we going to have a look at? I'm just looking at my notes here now, guys. Who else will we go with? Okay, let's talk about Charles Leclerc. Good old Charles, huh? He's having a disaster right now, isn't he? Man, they just can't close the deal, can they, Ferrari? They just don't have it. They've got some pace. I mean, obviously, you saw that he put it on pole for the Grand Prix. Now, of course, with Verstappen's lap eliminated. But oh, hang on, guys, 1 second. They're talking here in the the cooling down room, but they're not talking about much. Okay. So I think, like, Charles Leclerc, guys, he's a really good racer. He's a really good qualifier. He's got the whole package, right? He's got everything. He's good in the wet. Now, is he that quick? I don't think so. Comparing, okay, I mean, if we're going to compare, you know, Senna, Schumacher and all that, he's definitely one of the fastest out there, right? There's no question. And he seems like he's a nice guy. I think he's quite good at setting up a car, Leclerc is. And I think, I mean, if he can, jeez, man, if he's struggling, he's really struggling here. If he can get on the podium, you know, if he can just get on the podium for a couple of races at the end of the year, I think that would be a result. You know, and I know Ferrari, they're used to winning, guys. You know, they've won titles, they've won races, you know. But the way they're just like struggling right now, a couple of podiums. In fact, I think they're even going to struggle getting a podium. I really do. And I think, can they do it? I mean, Carlos Sainz is right there, obviously. Leclerc hasn't lost form. I think the team are slowing him down to a degree, guys. Okay, I think Carlos Sainz is their new boy for now. I mean, again, when you say for now, I mean, because it's always different. You know, it always changes with Ferrari. So hopefully for Leclerc going forward for the next 4 races, guys, hopefully we can get him on the podium. It'd be great to see him on the podium in Vegas, wouldn't it? Oh my God, and guys, I can't wait for that that Grand Prix. That's going to be a spectacle. That's going to be epic, guys. It's going to be fucking epic. Oh my God. If Charles Leclerc on the top step of the podium in Vegas, oh, that'd be a great result for him. So fingers crossed for Leclerc. Fingers crossed. Okay, where are we? Right, let's have a look at Alonso, guys. Jesus. So the update with Alonso, they've gone back to their old setup, right? Which is a bit disturbing to hear that, I'll be honest, because that just tells you guys stuff isn't working. It ain't working. The updates that they're coming with. That's not a good sign, guys, when a team have to revert back to an older setup. You know, I mean, it's kind of like if you had an iPhone, you're going back to, instead of what are we up to now, like iOS 16 or something, it'd be like going back to iOS 12, 13, because the iOS 16 is not working. You know, I'm sure you know what I mean. It's not good, guys. And I'm an Alonso fan. It's distressing. It is very distressing when you hear about this. Can they do something? Like, can they find something with that old setup now and go a different path? Now, if there's only 4 races to go, a lot of the teams are going to be working on their next year's car already, guys. I mean, they would have started that, I'd say, about 6 or 7 races ago, halfway through the season, you know? Maybe even earlier. So it just depends on where they are. But I think for Alonso, he's just not getting the results, is he? He was right there at the start of the year. You know, he had a couple of podiums. He was consistent. He didn't look like he had the juice to win races back in the day. They had a couple of moments where, okay, this is your moment, lads, to really shine if you're going to get anywhere. And they just didn't. They just didn't pull it off. And they're going backwards. It's heartbreaking to see. Heartbreaking to see. And Lance Stroll, like, what is going on with Lance Stroll, huh? What is going on with Lance Stroll? You know, I mean, this has got to be frustrating Alonso now at this stage, guys. It really has to be. You know, I think he's getting pissed off now, not getting on the podium, because things did start off really, really well this year for 2023. You know, and I think it gave them a lot of hope, the team. But again, guys, it just goes to show you that, you know, you can get a couple of updates on your car, 1 or 2 updates, and it can mean everything. Like, look at McLaren. You know, when they went to Silverstone this year, they updated the car just before they get there, and boom, from a midfield to back of the grid, up to the top, and it's like the second quickest car there. In one race. I know I've been going on about it, but that was just unbelievable, guys, you know? Unbelievable how they did that. I mean, that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? It just, these things just don't happen. Like, I mean, it's very rare that you'd get a car that gets one upgrade and boom, and everything changes and they're up the top of the grid. You know, it's extremely rare. But hey, this is McLaren. You can never write McLaren off, guys. I mean, these guys they're one of the best of all time, McLaren. I mean, you could argue with me are they the best? You know? Now, in terms of winning championships and races, they wouldn't have the top record. I think Mercedes have that at the moment. But, you know, guys, if anybody can pull it off, it's McLaren. Put it that way. If anybody can pull off the mother of all updates, well, there's no better boys than McLaren, I can tell you that. So, okay, let's have a look at my notes, guys, here. And, okay, so we were looking at Leclerc. We've gone Alonso. And he had sorry, guys, for Alonso, he had a rear suspension failure at Austin Grand Prix here today. So, but look, hey, that happens quite a bit. So, even though the track is quite smooth, it's a bit bumpy in the first part of the track, but it doesn't look like it's, you know, it doesn't look like it breaks cars, this track, you know. So I'd be interested to see now, and we'll obviously keep you updated, guys, if I hear more during the week or on this podcast here. But I'd be interested to see now what will happen, because like that shouldn't be happening to Alonso. That shouldn't be happening. A rear suspension failure? Like, what's going on here, guys? Now, maybe that's kind of in tune with the going back to the older setup. And like I said, I'm very concerned about this, guys. Very concerned why they have to go all the way back. Christ. Okay, I was very interested to see in the race, guys, that all of them were using hard tires, right? Most of them. Now, Verstappen started on the medium, went to the harder one. They all pitted, went to hard tires. And actually, I was very surprised to see that. Because look, in general, the soft tires are going to be the way to go. Now, what this tells you, when they're going on hard tires, they've got a lot of grip already, right? So they're actually trying to lose grip. That's what it's looking like here, because they're all doing it. So I think Austin is just naturally a very sticky track. Now, I've never been there before, but sorry guys, I'm moving around the camera here crazily. But when people do that, guys, when you've got a scenario where you're getting rid of grip, well, it's fairly obvious what's going on here. But again, there was no advantage for anybody either, because if you've got the grip, the other guy's going to get the grip too. Or if you got a lack of grip, the other guy's going to have a lack of grip. You know, so it does even itself out. Okay, let's see. Now, Verstappen had a bit of a brake problem there at the end. He was lucky. I think he was very, very lucky, guys, you know, to escape with that, to escape without any problems. You know, I mean, Jesus, Lord knows, when I was racing, I had an accident when my brakes hit the deck. Brakes were gone. I nearly was killed. Thank God I wasn't, you know. Jeez, touch wood. But yeah, it can be, these brake problems, not good. Even as a driver, even when you're driving around, like, you're not going to stop, right? But if you've got a problem coming out with the brakes, you do get a little concerned. You're like, oh shit, what's going to happen here? So, but hey, he was lucky, and Hamilton, good result for him for second. Okay, let's have a look. And actually, it was interesting, and what I noticed there as well, when Verstappen overtook Norris, if you remember, guys, right? The first time, Norris was staying with them. So it does look like Verstappen had the brake problem early on in the Grand Prix. I think that's why Norris did stay with them, because Verstappen caught him quite fast. Okay, he caught him quite fast. And then, okay, he took his time overtaking him, which, okay, fair enough. He didn't have to rush it. But then when he got him, he was losing pace. So, very, very lucky Verstappen he did today. And, that car is almost bulletproof. It never has problems. So, look, every now and then you're going to have a problem, But I think he was very, very lucky. He had it on early in the Grand Prix. Okay, what else is there? Oh, did you see Norris and Hamilton? And the way Norris closed the door on Hamilton? He did it aggressively, guys. Woo! But, it was legal. It was 100% legal. It was something that racing drivers do. There was no need to shut the door that fast on him, which was a bit weird. Like, why didn't he shut it a little bit sooner? But anyway. Okay, and Perez. What are we going to do with Perez, guys? Huh? What are we going to do with Sergio Perez? This guy, like, I've said it quite a bit. They are slowing him down, guys. Red Bull. Okay? For the love of God, I don't know why they're slowing him down this much. All right? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. And you could argue with me, guys, and people go, well, no, Peter, actually, no, you're being an idiot. They're not slowing him down. Sergio Perez is just not on form. He is on form, guys. Right? He is on form. And I would agree with anybody if they said, oh, well, he's not on form. I might be going, okay, if he didn't win at the start of the year. Guys, do you remember at the start of this year, he won a couple of races. He was on pole, was he on pole? I have to just kind of go through it again. But he's on front row. He's been challenging for race wins, podiums. So it's not that he can't drive the car. He's well equipped with that car, guys. Well equipped. He knows the car. He knows the style of driving he needs to do to win, right? Because that's what he would have needed to win the races already that he's won this year. Mexico next week, all of a sudden if quote, if he's found form, right, it ain't because he found fucking form, it's because Red Bull gave him the equipment to get through over the line. But it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do with with Perez next week in Mexico. Don't you love these back-to-backs, guys? We've got 3 in a row, bang, bang, bang. So Mexico next week, and then followed by the brain fart. What's the one after that? Is it Vegas? Anyway, we'll have to double check that, but it's great. I think it's 3 in a row, isn't it? I think it is. Anyway, not to worry. Mexico's next week. It's going to be great. I'll definitely be back with a preview for Mexico, guys, and we'll obviously do an onboard as well for Mexico, and we'll do all the usual breakdown. So well done to Red Bull and Verstappen today. Good win, especially with the bad luck of the brakes, and trust me, guys, they were very lucky to get away with that today. And not necessarily that he wouldn't have had no brakes. Thank God he didn't. Or thank God he didn't have that problem for Verstappen. Thank God. But the other problem of just something happening where they had to retire the car. So yeah, they got blessed today. Very blessed. So guys, that's it. We'll be back again next week for watching can Perez win in Mexico, his home track. He's going to be like a god there. It's going to be unbelievable. So yeah, we'll see, guys, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.